We love animals on this channel if you couldn't already tell. And it's not hard to figure out why, since animals can just be so flippin' neat. We have animals big and small, scaly or soft, and of course common and pretty dang rare, my friends. This rarity can be contributed to a few factors. This includes living in an elusive environment difficult for humans to navigate, dwindling population due to natural selection and circumstance, or the most popular, and sadly most common reason, human intervention causing habitat and population loss. Some of these animals are teetering on the edge of extinction, making them pretty difficult for us to witness them in the wild or even sometimes a simple zoo. With that said though, let's talk about some of these rare animals and see why there's such a rarity to see in the first place, whether by normal occurrence or, well, man-made. With all that said and done, let's begin, shall we? We come first with the Seneca white deer. Thankfully, our first entry is rare not due to human issues or overhunting, but mainly for genetic reasons actually. The Seneca deer is quite common, but every so often a white deer will be born to a seemingly normal parental duo. This is due to there being a lack of pigmentation in their body, causing that brown coat they normally sport to appear completely snow white. Despite that though, they still retain their brown eyes. These little guys get special privileges their brown brethren do not get, which includes a protected space at the Seneca Army Depot, where they're protected on a reserve. This not only protects them in general, but it also protects them from natural predators and overzealous hunters who would just love to have a white-skinned deer rug in their homes, I'm sure. We now come to a more unexpected idea, the liger. Now, I'm sure you're familiar with the liger, either through your own research or perhaps Napoleon Dynamite. This is the combo of a lion and a tiger, a truly awesome hybrid, really only found in captivity. This is because the two parents live in completely different areas of the world, with zero chance of overlapping naturally. Ligers are awesome and massive, but for the most part they do suffer serious health issues from the interbreeding process, and for the most part are completely sterile. However, in a rare case of cat genetics going right, we have the liger, one of the rarest animals on the planet as reported by journalists. There are very few in existence, one being in California in a nature reserve, and a few others scattered around the world. This is the combination of a liger and a tiger, and seems to take more after the liger than the tiger. Unlike the liger though, it reportedly doesn't suffer from as many health issues and may be fertile, possibly indicating this could be a continuing species. We now come to a more tragic entry, the Yangtze finless porpoise. We now come to an animal whose existence is very rare mainly due to human problems. The Yangtze River porpoise are native to the Yangtze River and shared their habitat with a second species of dolphin called the baiji dolphin. They both used to swim in harmony. However, due to environmental changes brought on by human development as well as the pollution that we brought, the Yangtze porpoise is considered critically endangered, with the baiji considered completely extinct. These porpoises are considered as intelligent as a gorilla and are known for being quite clever. Sadly, it doesn't matter just how intelligent they are, they can't outrun this pollution. Sadder still, there's been reported to only be about 1,000 of them as 2013, and it's only thought to have decreased since then, with no solution to repopulation in sight. Our next entry is the Borneo pygmy elephant. The Borneo pygmy elephant is known as the gentlest of elephants. Standard cute trunk, cute noises, and big ol' ears, these guys are the epitome of adorable pachyderms. You'll find most elephants have a degree of endangerment tacked onto them at this point, being forced from their habitats or targeted by poachers for their ivory. But the pygmy elephant is suffering especially. These little guys are classified as being critically endangered, with a population size of only about 1,500 as of this speaking. These little fellas are rare, and it may not be long before we can no longer see them, wild, captive, or otherwise. We now move on to a lesser-known frog, the purple frog. The purple frog is an underground-dwelling frog native to India, spending pretty much most of its life under the soil. This particular species was first formally discovered in 2003, and then they have been theorized to have evolved independently from other frog species for millions of years at this point. The only time these dusty hoppers come out of the ground is for breeding purposes, and once they've bumped uglies, they'll soon retreat back to the cool soil. Despite being discovered in 2003, these guys are classified as endangered due to deforestation. However, no exact population numbers are known. This means it might be endangered, it might not, it's difficult to tell really, but for now we're just gonna assume it's endangered. We now come to the hooded grebe, or grabe, I'm not really sure how to pronounce that one. Either way, this hooded bird is a water-dwelling bird native to Argentina and Chile. They were discovered in the 1970s and seem to look like a mix between ducks and swans, with a black and brown splotched head with a streak of white being the main identifier for this rather elegant bird. They are pretty rare, however, and since they were discovered, it's been theorized that they've lost 98% of their population, with only 800 recorded members being left in the wild. This change is brought on by extreme climate change, as well as invasive predators. On top of that, they have a very low reproductive rate, and they're unable to produce enough offspring to make up the difference on their losses. This species could face extinction quite soon, but there are efforts being taken to try and balance the species out. Whether that'll be successful, well, that remains to be seen. Moving on, we now come to the tiny Colombian dwarf gecko. These little guys have a pretty long and storied history, having had their family tree date back to the dinosaur years. Native to Colombia, this very little guy is only about 2 centimeters in length. They're just so tiny that it makes them pretty easy to miss even close up. Again though, they've been around quite a while and actually have been around since mankind first started to evolve from Neanderthals to whatever the heck we are nowadays, honestly. We certainly ain't that great. Sadly though, time seems to be catching up with them. Predators, habitat loss, and possible climate change are threatening this tiny dino. This little one is considered mostly extinct at this point, with only small sightings being reported every now and then. We now come to an even rarer animal, the herola. The herola is a special mammal given protection by a Somali community due to them believing it is a spiritual being. This is one of the world's rarest antelope species and have distinct dark glands under their eyes. These glands give them the appearance that they need some sleep, or perhaps even give the appearance of having multiple eyes. Aside from herola, it's also called the four-eyed antelope because of this. While they are protected by their community, they are in a very steady decline due to drought, habitat loss, and poaching. Reportedly, there's only about 400 individuals left in both the wild and in captivity, and those numbers are rapidly in decline. We now come to the Mediterranean monk seal, a seal that's just so adorable and also looks like it actually does have robes. This seal gets its name from its brown coat that allows it to resemble a traditional monk's. Back in the day, it was revered by Greeks as a good omen, and generally were left alone by our ancestors. While the Greeks did revere it, they're also found in other parts of the world, including Hawaii, Panama, and the Mediterranean. They tend to dwell on bony fish and cephalopods, as well as eels and octopus. But nowadays, they're on a steady decline due to predation by various species of sharks, which includes tigers and gray whites. Commercial hunting is also a large threat to their species numbers, leaving their population to only about 250 seals left worldwide. This is one of the rarest creatures on Earth, and they're worth a sightseeing if you're able to find one out in the wild. Today's best pick is a lizard of some sort. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna be totally honest with you here. This is a subscriber submission, and I couldn't figure out what species this is. I tried looking it up on Google search and only got results for grass. I tried looking up spotted lizards and then lizards with pointy heads, and I didn't get much for results. So, sadly, this one is a mystery to me for now, and I'm probably looking it right in the face and not even realizing what it is. So, feel free to call me stupid if it's obvious. Remember to comment below for that. With that though, I do have another lizard here for you, one that's in pretty bad shape population-wise. With that, let's shine our spotlight over on the Chinese giant salamander. The Chinese giant salamander is one of the 3 surviving species of giant salamander in the world. Honestly, the giant in its name is a pretty apt descriptor for the big guy. These lizards can grow up to 2 meters long, making them pretty easy to spot if you happen to see one. Sadly, that reality of being able to see one is more of a fantasy nowadays, with its population in a very steady nosedive to several factors. You will rarely see this guy in the wild or in captivity, and the 2 most prevalent factors would be 1. Water pollution in its native habitat, poisoning its water hole as well as its prey. And then there is the biggest, being human poaching. Humans in China will seek out these big guys for use in medicine, part trading, skinning, and is also considered a delicacy in their native land. There's really only a few surviving populations left, and due to China's greed and general ignorance, the salamander as well as the dolphin from the earlier entry are likely to disappear with simply a whimper at this point. Thank you, China. You're so progressive. That is our video for today, folks. I do hope you enjoyed it. Which animal would you like to see in real life? Well, let us know in the comments. Also, don't forget to find out what creature the best pick was and tell me how dumb I am, please. I genuinely like to know what it is, and I kinda deserve to be called dumb at it for this point. With all that said and done though, that is our video for today, and I'll see you all next time. Later, everybody.